Howdy, folks! So, sorry to be back again with another Hazbin related video, but the hyperfixation is strong, and I am very normal about Alistair. I also wanted an excuse to plug the song me and my bestie made here on my main channel, since my music channel is very neglected and lonely. You should go listen to that, by the way. It slaps mega hard. Also, I have some bloopers they recorded that I said I'd share, so I want to do that here instead of there. Anyways, now that I've watched the full show almost 3 whole times at this point, going on 4th for this video, I want to give it a full review. As you could probably assume, I very much so enjoy the show. I was skeptical at first, but after I tried to clear my brain of any pre-existing thoughts and just watch it, I found myself having a good old-fashioned fun time. Obviously, it has its flaws, and I'll talk about those for sure, but it also isn't a pile of garbage. It's good, in my opinion, even if it could be better. I really, truly love the show, and all of my critiques come from a place of genuine adoration and admiration for its team. I'll touch on the first episode again, even though I already made a video about it, because I've had some more thoughts since then. I really like the opening scene for its art style and exposition. However, I've heard it pointed out that it doesn't make sense for Charlie to know the story that way. She says herself that heaven began the exterminations so that the denizens of hell wouldn't try to overthrow them. Sure, she could still assume that redemption wouldn't count as overthrowing, and I have a feeling that's what the team was intending, but it still feels a bit out of character for her to then discover that angels are jerks. Moving on, I realized that while in my initial video I mentioned that there was some decent reintroduction to the characters for those who hadn't seen the pilot, it still could have been better. For one thing, Vaggie shows up for an entire 2 scenes pretty much without the audience being told what her name is. We don't hear her name until around 8 minutes into the episode. Meanwhile, she's pulling everyone else's weight by saying almost every other character's name first. That being said, Alistair's introduction is very well done. The fact that he isn't shown on camera at all throughout the commercial isn't just in character, but is also a great way to give us a look into his personality before, as he would say, putting a face to the name. Then the way the camera pans up to show him, I love that. Very well done in my opinion. Vaggie goes on to give us a time frame for how long ago the events of the pilot were, continuing her role as the queen of good exposition. A bit more of a personal nitpick, there are way too many needless sound effects in this scene. I know that's a huge critique of most of Viv's work, but this scene in particular really bugs me. For some reason, it just feels especially out of place. Also, something about the way Angel acts in this scene feels off to me. It might be that his delivery feels a little slow, in my opinion. That in turn makes it take him a bit too long to complete a rather simple motion, and that makes it feel like he's going in slow motion at times. I do really like his line about staying for free. That one always gets a little chuckle out of me. His delivery really sells it. And now we get into one of my previous critiques of the episode, the transition, or lack thereof, into the first song. It feels so out of left field. One moment Vaggie's talking, and the next her girlfriend just starts singing. Accurate to how Charlie seems to be in just day-to-day life, but also very weird for a show. There could have been a little more musical lead up under the conversation to make it a bit less jarring, but as it is now, it just feels so abrupt.
And touch their hearts, or whatever angels have.
Dang, poor Vaggie. Poor everyone in this scene, actually. Charlie just starts completely ignoring every single one of them as she starts dancing around. She has fully disassociated from reality and stepped foot in her own little Mind Palace Broadway stage.
That bitch is halfway down the street. Is she? Oh, she's dancing. No.
I do really love this part, though. As much as I wasn't a fan of this song on my first watch, this part made me chuckle. That's something I love about the show in general. It acknowledges the songs in it. They're a part of the story. They happen on some level. That's fun to me. The songs are more than just a device, they're part of the world itself. Typically in cartoons, they aren't acknowledged, save for specific circumstances, but all of these songs are part of the show. They're ingrained into the world, and even the characters know that. Which begs the question, is the instrumental part of the song for them too? Or is Charlie just going a cappella down the streets of hell? And in that case, kudos to the other sinners for figuring out the tune to join in on her song during her stroll. Theater kids must all end up in hell, I guess. Overall, this song has some pretty good bits.
There's just no way I could blow it, not mine.
And touch my parts.
No thank you. I'm just gonna fulfill my destiny.
Unrelated, I really enjoy the backgrounds in this show. As someone who struggles with backgrounds myself, I admire the style of these. The line work is very nice, and there's a slight texture to them that's quite pleasing to the eyes. Moving on, I must finally face him. Adam. This guy sucks. I don't understand how they never kicked him out of heaven. Honestly, it was probably just to keep up appearances. That is the only possible justification for it, considering he does literally everything wrong. That being said, he is kind of funny, I have to admit.
Fucking love putting my name on shit. Shit's the best.
His design is also pretty cool. I like that the exorcists all have demon-like masks. It just seems especially cruel of them, almost as if they're making fun of the sinners with the design of their uniforms. I like the B-plot in this episode a lot, though I wish we actually got to see the finished commercial. I also really love the bit with Nifty. It's fun, and I love the callback to it in the finale. I want to see more of her. She's always great whenever she's on screen, and her vacant stare just kills me every time.
You're doing great, vagina.
And it's followed immediately by one of the worst lines in the show. This is the kind of thing people see and instantly judge the rest of the show for. It feels like such a forced bit of dialogue, and it's just really unnecessary. Maybe you could make the argument that it's setting up foreshadowing to the scene Vaggie has later with Adam, but big shocker, I also hate that part. This is why people hate the way that the Helliverse women are written. Vaggie's entire name is a big sex joke. That just feels kind of gross. Yes, she's a main character, but she very often gets pushed to the wayside. She could be so much more compelling, and yet she's just kind of bland. Same thing with Charlie, really. They both feel a bit bland. I saw a post one time that was like, this Yuri tastes like unseasoned chicken, and honestly, yeah, as much as it hurts me to say. Sure, they're cool characters with decent motivation, but they're just so boring compared to all the other characters in the show. Angel has an actively horrible situation taking over his life that he uses a mask to cover. Alistair has some weird cryptic deal with someone creating some massive intrigue around his character, not to mention he's just an enigma in general. Husk used to be an overlord and still seems to be rather powerful when he needs to be, not to mention he seems to know Alistair pretty well, which is exciting. Serpentius has an entire redemption arc, and what about the women? Charlie, the protagonist, has daddy issues and wants to be the Disney Princess Goody Two-Shoes savior of hell. Vaggie loves her girlfriend, and that's pretty much it. Nifty... And Cherry Bomb only exists in relation to Angel and Penchus. Now, yes, Vaggie has the whole ex-exorcist thing going on, but that doesn't even create a whole big issue. They have a small argument about it and then make up immediately. There could have been a lot more done with that. This show needed a bigger season. There was just too much to squeeze into 8 episodes, and it also feels like we concluded the story too soon. I was on a call a while ago, and someone said that this felt like a season 2, not a season 1. I completely agree. The V's should have been the season 1 antagonists. Save the real meat of the Heaven arc for season 2. Play in the space before you throw us into the depths. Give us some world building of our main setting before shaking it up with a new part of this world. End the season with the big extermination threat. Don't start it. And, that would give the hotel being destroyed a bit more weight to it. It feels so nothing. We barely spent any time in the old hotel, and now it's gone forever. And speaking of the V's, guess who gets the least attention or development out of all 3 of them? Velvet, the woman. Give us more Velvet, I am begging you. I want to know her backstory, her motives, her relationships. Give me something. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Won't be so entertaining.
To talk to an empty audience.
Will it, shit ass?
Fair enough.
Anyways, I love this scene. Probably not a surprise. I love Alistair more than life itself at the moment, and he's such a silly fella here.
Your choice.
What a guy! Let me try and wrap up the episode 1 section quick because this got a bit out of hand. Back to the music. The lead up into Hell is Forever is much better in my opinion. It feels more natural and makes a lot more sense. Not to mention the song goes absolutely hard. Overall, I'd give episode 1 about a 6 out of 10. Alright, finally on to the rest of the show. Episode 2. I really like Pen's introduction.
Bomb and face it! There you are.
That being said, the fact that it immediately goes into the V's introduction is a bit much. Information overload, if you will. Also, why does the Vox cutout look like that? His hips are telling more truth than the entire populations of Heaven and Hell combined. Like I said before, it really feels like the V's should have been the main antagonists for the first season. We should have gotten to know them better if they were going to show up here as much as they do. It feels like 2 seasons got pushed together into one micro season. It's sad. I'm rather excited for season 2 though, since the V's are said to be the main antagonists there. I need more Vox and Velvet. Immediately.
Take care of the piss baby.
Immediately. Also, the music in this scene, God, it is exquisite. The strings during Vox's walk through the tower that remind me of Stade's Gone instrumentation, the techno beat during Velvet's Boutique, and the gorgeous tango-esque guitar for Valentino, absolutely stunning. I adore everything about it. Speaking of Valentino, is it just me, or does his accent fluctuate a bit too drastically? Something about it just feels a bit off to me, but hey, maybe it's not my place to say anything about that. His voice is still fitting. It just feels like a bit too large of a spectrum to me. Just another personal nitpick, though. On the topic of nitpicks...
The radio demon is there. What did you just say?
You're telling me that Alistair returned after 7 years, and it wasn't at the very least in one news broadcast? Maybe Val heard about it from Angel, I don't know, but nobody cared at all? He's been seen. He made the commercials. He has a radio tower attached to the hotel. He's clearly been there for over a week at this point. Penchis knew he was there. How did Vox not know? Anyways, love the animation in this scene. Kinda weird that they used what's most likely 3 separate laughs, all combined into one long clip while drawing his face like that, but I can excuse it because he looks so goofy here. Speaking of goofy... Rest in peace, Pen. You make me wheeze laugh every time I watch you get tossed like a sack of potatoes.
Wait, you're leaving? Alistair, we need your help. We need you to do your job.
We need a wall.
And of course, Alistair being his useless self as always. Sorry, I need to talk about him or my brain just shuts off completely. It's a problem. Speaking of Alistair, here comes one of my favorite songs from the show, to nobody's surprise. I listened to this song way more than I'd like to admit. Plus, the animation for this part is absolutely incredible. One of my favorite scenes by far. All of Vox's different outfits / programs are so fun. And look at his face. Just look at him. That is the face of someone thinking, oh god, this guy. Literally the perfect expression. I can't explain it, but I want to inject this frame into my bloodstream. He is cringing so hard. Also, I like to think that while Voxy's cooking rare venison as a threat, Alistair just sees it as a desperate attempt to beg Al to have dinner with him.
Hell's been better since he split. Where's he been? Who gives a shit?
Back to the animation, this shot especially activates my neurons. I want to watch this shot on loop until I die. The movement, the bounce, the everything. Ugh. Okay. I need to stop gushing about this song before I go on another tangent because this video is gonna be who knows how long already. Just know that every shot during Stayed Gone makes me want to run laps around my house to expel the energy that thinking about them imbues my soul with. Back to the episode. I absolutely adore Penchis. He is the definition of scrunkly. This is my blurbo. Also, why does Al look absolutely zoinked out half the time? Why is he always staring into the middle distance? What a freak. I love him. Don't even get me started on his haircut. Every time I see the back of his head, it's like experiencing a national tragedy. Back to actually reviewing. The way Pen swings his arms when he's pushed forward is adorable, and the weight of the motion is just absolutely delicious. There's so much character in the animation of this show. I truly adore it. There's a lot of character in the show in general, really. The expressions are always a blast. I love it when they go a bit off model for comedic effect. That's always my favorite, and it definitely looks like the team had a lot of fun with the animation. I really like what this episode does for Angel, too. The entire season pretty much has a heavy focus on his character development, and it's good that we start to see the cracks in his mask here. It's obvious he's miserable, but we don't exactly get the insight as to why just yet. He definitely has some of the best growth so far out of the main cast. This entire episode makes me want to hug him. Poor guy. A neat detail that I feel really adds a lot to the scene in Angel's room is the design of the sound waves on Valentino's voicemails. The explicitly heart-shaped ones for his love bombing, set next to the sharp, jagged frowns of his more aggressive ones, do a lot to visually show just how quick and volatile of a switch he can make in his personality. That and the beautifully animated smoke swirling around Angel as he lies down in defeat are just excellent visual representations of just how deep into this horrible situation he is, how it is complete control over his life. His fight with Pen is also exquisitely animated. I truly adore the part where Pen just stuns him. That's such a neat addition. I also really love Vaggy's nightgown design. The moth motif is strong in the shape of it, and it makes my brain happy. That being said, does she sleep with her bow on? The way Pen curls up on the floor here is so pathetic. I love him. But also, Vaggy needs to stop being so trigger happy. How did they not figure out she used to be an exorcist sooner? She's way too eager to take out any sinner who poses even a meager threat to the hotel. Penchis is clearly the least dangerous problem they have right now, but she's still like, don't worry, baby girl. I'll kill this guy that you want to save from being killed for you. Seems a bit in bad taste, don't you think?
It starts with sorry.
Dude, Blurry was visiting me around the time Hazbin first started airing, and we saw this clip on TikTok without the context, and we both started howling, man. It took us out. It was so funny. It still makes me wheeze every time. Look at his face. Look at him. Pathetic loser boy swag. What a silly guy. But on a more reviewer-like note, the transition into the song is, again, pretty good. Much less stunted than Happy Day in Hell. I am glad that it hasn't been much of a problem outside of episode 1 so far. The shot of Charlie dancing around that sparkly pink pool of musical magic is also absolutely gorgeous. The spins are so smooth, it's absolutely amazing. I also adore Pen's voice, especially in this song. It isn't my favorite song by any means, but it's sweet and I adore the way Pen just sounds when he sings. And Nifty kicking one of his tail eyes is adorable. The way he curls up too, very silly. By the way, something I noticed, they never removed the camera. As far as the audience knows, it's still right there, so everybody shut up, Alistair's back, nothing matters anymore.
What?
You'll have to try harder than that next time, old pal.
Woo! Yeah, baby! Creepy evil laugh! Yeah! 9 out of 10. Episode 3. Why does Penn just think people are being nice to him when literally 2 minutes into the episode they all flip him off? Kinda weird, but also a bit of a nitpick. Maybe he's just talking about Charlie, or the fact that nobody's tried to kill him yet. And hell, maybe that's considered being nice enough. Putting that aside, I do like the way this episode opens. We're told right away it's been a few days, and we're naturally introduced to Carmilla through Penn's purchase, giving us a little background on her and making the audience get a bit excited to meet her. This is gonna sound really mean, but every time I hear Penn just cry in this scene, I can't help but laugh. Like, why is it funny? I don't know. Just something about how over the top his sobbing is, I think, makes me giggle. Also, can we talk about how stunning the visuals in Alistair Swamp are? The deer carcass is gorgeously rendered, the colors are absolutely beautiful, and the background has so much texture to it. I absolutely love it. Though, why did Vaggie have to ask Alistair to get rid of him? Couldn't she just, I don't know, throw them outside and close the door? Why does she think Al's gonna do anything aside from that? He's more likely to kill them and just not mention it. Does she really trust him that much? Moving back to the A-plot, it really feels a bit weird to me that Charlie would just throw Vaggie on the spot like that. I assume she knows Vaggie finds it pretty difficult to trust people, so why would she even be good at teaching trust in the first place? Why don't they just do it together? We could have had a very similar plot if Charlie had instead tried to co-op the lesson with Vaggie, leading to shenanigans as they both attempt to go about it in completely different ways. It's a very minor change that overall wouldn't affect much about the plot, but it would feel a bit better for Charlie's character in my eyes. It seems like kind of a dick move to throw Vaggie in front of these people and tell her to teach a lesson she wasn't prepared to teach. After watching the full show, it is kind of funny watching her revert back to a sort of military style of teaching, considering her time in the Exorcist army. Did nobody have, like, any questions about that, combined with her appearance? How did no one notice? Whatever, small detail. She does look like she could just be a sinner like the rest of them, but I'll touch on that when we actually get to the reveal a bit more. I have more thoughts. This is another part where I feel like Angel just gets to be a bit too much. Yeah, he makes a lot of jokes about being a porn star, but sometimes it's just way overboard. I get it, Husk. I probably would have dropped him too. On the other hand, Penchus was very funny in this bit. His line delivery had the exact right cadence and timing, and that paired with the way his facial expressions are animated makes for a perfect little joke. Nifty's also pretty good here. I love the part where everyone steps away from her. That's pretty funny. Though, I maybe could have done without the yay, pain! That overdid it a bit for me. I really love the way all the characters are drawn in that simplified style in the next part. It's absolutely adorable. Moving on, I will never not lose my mind over this Alistair expression. He looks like he's thinking about all of his regrets after eating the Forever Weed brownie here. And the little eye twitch? I love all of his scenes with the egg boys. Also, is it just me or does Al look a little scared when Zestral shows up? Is he scared for the eggs? Is he scared for himself? Now that I'm thinking about it, Zestral has a lot of green in his color palette, and Alistair's magic is green. I've seen some theories that he got his crazy powers by making a deal with someone either right after getting to hell or when he was still alive, so maybe that was Zestial. Maybe that's why Zestial was able to remain an overlord when Alistair started taking out the rest. Maybe this is the deal he's restrained by, or hey, maybe it's just another deal he has going. There's still the probability that his main deal has something to do with Lilith, given the shared 7-year absence. Anyways, back to the actual episode. I first saw this scene out of context on TikTok while BLURRY was visiting, and I was initially so confused.
Looks like we might have some acid rain this afternoon.
I'm still a little confused, actually. I do like this scene. It is pretty funny, but we get another shot with a million different sound effects in the span of about, 5 seconds, which is certainly a choice. Also, why does Zestial, flash Alistair? What's that about? What, did you just come back from buying it and were eager to show it off to your bestie? Cool cape, man? Thanks. Can you put your entire body away? The shot of them walking past the camera does something to my brain chemistry that I can't quite explain. I feel like I need to run 12 miles now. The way they capture the fisheye of the camera, just, thinking about having to draw that, let alone animate it, is making me tired. It looks so incredible. I love it.
Oh, look! Frank is up there. We have names?
Again, I love the egg boys. Who is this? Who is this? I do not care. I am in love. Also, I love how they're just chilling. They know this is gonna be boring, and they just came to see each other. Peak friendship right there. Also, I love that the fact that no one cares about Alistair being back causes him to get annoyed. Yes, King, give us attention-seeking man-baby behavior. I love the background music in this scene as well. The guitar has returned, and it sounds as exquisite as ever, followed by that poppy techno beat as Velvet makes her appearance. Big episode for the girl boss lovers, this one. I love the way she just shows up and makes her presence everyone else's problem. What an icon. And now we're bringing back that Angel from episode 1. I'm glad we got a few episodes of pacing before we acknowledge that again. They let it sit for a while before bringing it back. Pretty decent pacing for that plot point so far. so far. I'm gonna be real, I kind of agree with Velvet here. She's right, it's not meager proof, it's literally a dead exorcist. What more proof do you want? Although he is right, they don't know what killed it, which is why they need to figure it out. Yeah, I know Velvet sucks, but also hear her out, man. This could be a good idea if y'all workshop it with her. Sorry guys, I'm a Velvet defender apparently. Very ballsy of her to use fossil as an insult right next to a literal dinosaur, by the way. And here we go into one of my biggest critiques of the episode. Respectless. The lead up to this song is essentially non-existent, and the entirety of Carmilla's lyrics sound forced and awkward. I can't quite place why, but the wording just feels so weird. I do enjoy the majority of this song, it's very catchy, but there are parts that just feel so weird to me. I'm not a big fan of Velvet's woo either. It feels so, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoon? Tone indicator negative, by the way. The instrumental bangs, though, no doubt about that. And most of it's fine. There are just parts that make me, for lack of a better word, cringe. Also, girl, stop saying things in front of people. Don't tell the cannibals you could eat them for breakfast. Are you insane? Another little nitpick. I hate how she keeps referring to Carmilla as old and wrinkled because her design isn't. She's very smooth. She looks like she's in her 30s, maybe 40s. Girlie has perfect skincare. What are you talking about?
Why are you avoiding war? That's what the guns you sell are for.
This line goes hard though. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Also, I love Velvet's little walk across the table. Get it, queen, I love you! Oh, I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I really adore Velvet's design. Her coat is so cool and her hair has such a fun shape to it. Everything about her outfit and face is just, I love her.
Do you have a disclosure? This meeting's over!
That was a productive meeting.
God, I hate how this song ends. I hate it. I hate Velvet's last line. I hate how Carmilla says this right before Alistair's line, so we hear the word meeting twice in like the same moment. I hate it. This is what ruins the song for me, I think. I could handle the rest of it if it ended differently. This moment just feels so awkward. It feels like something I would have written in freshman year of high school and thought was the funniest thing ever. It's not. It hurts me inside.
Fine. Safe travels back to the nursing home, fuckers. Kiss my ass. What the hell? We literally just got here.
I'm okay now. This part heals me. Iconic line from my queen. Also, who are you, beautiful dinosaur? I'll give you everything. Anyway, the fact that Alistair immediately turned his attention to the egg boy, to Frank, implies that he knew bro was there the whole time. Why didn't he tell him to leave? Interesting. And how did no one notice Frank was walking the loudest way possible after them? Insane to me that they let him do that. Crazy that bro didn't get boiled. Back over to the A-plot. Why didn't they ask Angel what they were doing before they got there? I can't believe they just let him take them to a BDSM dungeon without any questions or complaints. Did they not notice before they got in? Did he blindfold them? How did this happen? Unrelated, I love the design of this Gorgon demon. Very cool. Moving on, how does Charlie just let her girlfriend throw their patrons down into a turf war without intervening? She is literally just standing there. We get a very funny angel noise from it though, so I'll let it slide. Oh good, Charlie came to her senses in time to save Nifty. Why couldn't you do that for your precious little Penchus since you're so invested in his progress, huh? Huh, Charlie? I'm just messing around. It's not that big a deal, just something I noticed. I like that they actually have an argument here, but I do feel like Charlie could have said a bit more rather than just being like, oh no. Beautiful wide shot of Vaggie on the rooftop, by the way. Back to Carmilla, I like the way the scene starts out, but when we get to the song, yeah, not a huge fan of this one either. The first two lines are fine, but when Zestial starts talking about the angel specifically is where I start to get lost. Carmilla's part is fine too. It's not like a crazy banger or anything, but it doesn't feel super awkward. Aside from the shot of her holding her daughters like that, something about the way they're standing feels a bit inorganic. Vaggie's part is also fine. Again, the overall song is just kind of bland to me. I don't really like the last parts though. For some reason, Vaggie sounds wrong singing that far up. It seems out of character, and it also feels so anticlimactic for what is essentially the climax of the song. Carmilla is putting her everything into this part, meanwhile Vaggie sounds like she's just trying to have enough breath for those notes. I obviously don't know for certain, but it sounds like it's difficult for her to sing that high. Either way, she can't get the same amount of emotion that Carmilla can in that range, and it really takes away from the feeling of the song. Also, it feels like the shot of Vaggie at the end goes on a bit too long. It's like they were gonna do a fade to black, but decided against it, so they just kept the shot running until the next scene. Oh good, another shot of Alistair looking stoned out of his mind. My favorite. Real quick, while we're here, I think think the pacing would have been a bit better if they had introduced Carmilla in this episode and, like, introduced the fact that the angel was headless to the other overlords and explained who did it later. Obviously, they didn't have enough episodes for that, but if they did, I think that would have worked a lot better. It's like they're trying to squeeze a lot of content into a short amount of time, which is probably what happened because they needed more time, clearly, to tell the story. Anyways, another nitpick, it's kind of strange that when Vaggie shows up, Charlie didn't immediately apologize. She just gives a simple, hey, and turns back down to look at the parlor. She waits for Vaggie to apologize before she does. Just a bit strange to me. The scene is still cute, and it's nice getting to see the residents bond a bit. It really feels like they're starting to naturally become more comfortable with one another. I commend the show for that slow development. Well, as slow as it can be, what with only having the 8 episodes. I'm also glad that Penn got his eggs back. Those are like his stupid little children. He needs them, and I will sob if he does not have them. I'll give this episode a 4 out of 10. Maybe a 3.5? 3.5 out of 10. Episode 4. Here we go. On my first watch through, I was super confused at first. Creative way to open it. Ties in well with the overall themes of the episode. Also, the animation in this opening is actually incredible. Something about it just feels so smooth and full of life. All the movements have weight and very good timing to them. Actually, the way Angel is animated in this whole scene is especially good. He has a lot of flowy motions here. Love it. Speaking of Angel, I really love him in this episode. Obviously, that's not like an unpopular opinion or anything. He's characterized very well here, and we get to see more of him. We've known that he has a lot going on already, but it's nice to see him be less of a comic relief and get to have his time in the spotlight. On to the conflict of the episode. They all know his boss is Valentino, right? One of the Vees? I don't fully understand why Vaggie would convince Charlie to confront him without any sort of plan, and why didn't she go with her? It was very likely that Charlie would somehow overstep a boundary or do something that would set off Val, so didn't anyone think twice before they let her trot off to go mess around while Angel was there trying to work? I mean, yeah, it comes from a place of care, but also, come on guys, you know Charlie. I feel so bad for Angel during this whole scene. You can really see just how freaked out he is, and you can hear the panic in his voice the whole time. Very well executed. I want to punch Charlie a little bit. Not as much as Valentino, though. Speaking of Val, I love the way he's animated here, too. The animation in this episode in general is great. As much as I hate Valentino, he is a very fun character to watch most of the time. He has some funny lines, and the range of his voice is rather entertaining. Back to Charlie. Girlie makes me so mad in this episode. I get what she's trying to do, and I get that she's excited about her hotel, but also, read the room. You can tell Angel is nervous. You can see that Valentino is a freak. Maybe just, like, sit outside and wait? Obviously, that would have made for a less interesting episode, but I'm just mad at Charlie here, so sorry, I'm gonna be a little bit of a bother about it.
I'm sorry.
God, this shot is so good. The fear on Angel's face, the silhouette of Valentino, the way his wings flap, everything about it is amazing. And then we have the dressing room scene. Man, this one really hits every time. The quick tone shift into this very serious scene feels simultaneously jarring yet earned, and I think that works well for it. It doesn't coddle the audience. It was clear that something was coming, but it's still so abrupt. We instantly see all of Val's rage bubble over as he slaps Angel the moment they're alone, quickly setting the tone for the scene. Angel's once again putting his everything into this episode. I absolutely love everything about his performance here. His fear, his anger, everything sounds so real. And now we get to Poison, perhaps one of my favorite songs of the entire show. I love everything about Poison, and the animation of the scene is also phenomenal. The fluidity in Angel's motions is absolutely stunning, and the visual of him putting on his smile to film works well with the mask we know he puts on in his day-to-day. The gorgeously animated smoke transitioning into this absolutely amazing dance scene always gets my brain excited. I want to pick apart every frame of this and eat them. Also, I love Angel's outfit here. The way it mimics a spider's thorax is really cool. And when he gets thrown back into the bed full of money, that part looks so good. That looks so cool. Come on. I also love how much he uses his hands when he dances. He's really giving pop icon throughout these dancey segments, especially in the part near the end. I love the visuals there as well as his outfit. Angel's outfits are always peak, which, you know, makes sense for him. I also like the visual storytelling here. The brief flashes of his trauma sprinkled in with him pretending to be all put together, all converging as Valentino steps on screen and yanks him off the ground, causing his mask to slip off. You can see the fear on his face. You can tell he's not what he's pretending to be. Meanwhile, on the screen behind him, you can still see him with his mask on, pretending like everything is perfect. And not only does the mask drop visually, but then we get to the last part of the song and you can hear the exhaustion and distress in his voice. He sounds strained, he sounds broken, and the colors here are all dark and moody. A lot of deep blues and piercing pinks. It's very pop arty to me. It creates a very specific type of dark mood, foreboding in a way. Watching Angel walk back into the hotel without his mask for the first time really serves to drive home just how bad things are getting for him. He only musters the energy to slip back into his persona while talking to Husk, and even then, it's not as convincing as usual. I feel like their interaction carries a good amount of weight to it. It feels real and genuine. That being said, I find it a bit strange that Husk was blamed for his outburst instead of Charlie. She admits that she pushed too hard and caused a mess of a situation, so it's a bit weird that they're putting most of it on Husk when he didn't really do much. Though, granted, he could have been a bit gentler with Angel, but come on, this is Husk. That's just his demeanor. I love their talk outside of the bar. Husk seems like he's attempting to genuinely offer a hand to Angel in his own way, like he actually wants to see him improve. It's the first time we get to see him being anything other than disinterested with Angel. It's nice. It's also the first time we get to see Angel actually open up a bit about his problems. We get a glimpse into his thought process, humanizing him even more than this episode already did.
I was an overlord once, you know? Yeah.
What? How are you just gonna drop that randomly? How does Angel not respond? He doesn't even look that surprised. He looks like a sad dog. That is the craziest thing to hear ever. And bro's just gonna keep sitting there, looking sad. Be confused. Be surprised. Be something. Absolute bombshell drop aside, this moment is very sweet. Watching them open up a bit to each other and start to realize they might not be so different after all is cute. The transition into Loser Baby is pretty alright. We have a moment to dwell on the conversation before the song starts up, and it feels pretty natural. The subversion of expectations is also pretty good, and I love the animation here once again. Husk's little shoulder shimmy and the way he does that knife cat face, and wait, is he lying down in the barf? Disgusting, Husk. Disgusting. I love the way he spins the umbrella. That movement's really good. And the second verse is super sweet when you think about it. Despite the abrasive language he uses for the song, he's trying to tell Angel that he gets it, that he doesn't have to be alone. They can be messed up together. I need to see more of them. They work so well together. It's so sweet. Guys, look at their little dance. Their little dance is so cute.
Go ahead, baby, sing that song. Come on.
Look at the animation here. This is so good. Another scene I want to dissect and devour. The part at the end, too. Look how smooth that is. I will briefly say that some of the lyrics feel a bit off to me, but overall the song is good and there's not really a better way to word a lot of it. It all makes sense. It's just like a personal preference thing. Still a very good song. And then we get to see Husk fight, presumably using some of that leftover Overlord power. I'm glad that all his powers are gambling themed. That's super fun. I also love that Angel gets to show him that he's capable of defending himself too. It's so sweet to see them bonding and that Angel's starting to let Husk get to know the real him. I'm still mad at Charlie here, but it's sweet that Angel forgave her. Could have lingered a little less on her crying though. Overall, I'd say episode 4 gets a 7.5 out of 10 from me. Also, I just realized we don't see Alistair at all in this episode, save for Husk's flashback. He's been shown watching the hotel's activities before, so I'd like to think that the moment Angel turned on his movie, bro just melted back into his room out of disgust. That's my new headcanon. And now we get to the part of the video where I've realized that I've been recording for 45 minutes, and I'm only halfway done with the show. So, in an attempt to make this video not an hour and a half long, I'm going to wrap it up here for now, also because I need to get this video out in the next like week. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here for now, and I'll pick it up either next month or the month after with the other 4 episodes and my final thoughts on the series overall as a whole. I just want to reiterate again that even if I sound like I'm being harsh on the show, that just comes from a place of love and a place of I'm also a creative person and I have things that I would change if I had written it myself. It's not like I don't hate the show by any means. Yes, I said I hated that part in Respectless, but it's just because it makes me feel weird and I don't like it. I like the show. I love the show, actually. I have been so hyperfixated on it. It's like physically painful. So it's a big thing for me right now. And I just really wanted to do this just because I don't have a lot of people that I can talk about it with. So I'm gonna make a video about it because I can't force myself to make any other type of content currently because my brain is currently on Hazbin Hotel mode. How many times did I say currently currently in that sentence? Probably about 1,000, because I'm stupid and I didn't script this part because I didn't anticipate that this was gonna take me so long to talk about. But I should have realized that when I realized that I was on page 7 and I was only in the middle of reviewing episode 4. So, yeah, I probably should have consolidated my reviews, but I have a lot of thoughts because I'm very normal about this show, and I definitely haven't spent upwards of $60 in the last month and a half on Alistair fan merch on Etsy. Yeah. Anyways, I will see you guys next month. Oh god, I just realized I'm gonna have to edit another half an hour long video. Someone kill me so I can go to hell and see Alistair. Anyways, I need to shut up and I need to stop recording, and I need to tell you to go listen to the song that me and Blurry made on my music channel. It's called Care to Make a Deal. It's an Alistair fan song because, again, I'm so normal about Alistair, but they do a really good Alistair impression. It's really silly, and I think you will enjoy it because I am super proud of it, and also it's really good. So yeah, I gotta remember to add the bloopers that they sent me at the end of this. Let's get into that, and then I'll see y'all later. Bye.
From your troubles, I could be your ticket out. I just fucking kicked my stool. I see... I don't see anything. I see death. You've left your fear. Just shake my